enjoy the game. We hope that you will enjoy the game and that the teams will produce a memorable performance in accordance with the spirit of respect and fair play. We wish both teams the best of luck. Bienvenue à l'UEFA Friendship Cup 2025 entre le Japon et l'Uruguay. Le football nous a tous rapprochés. Ce merveilleux sport est basé sur le respect, sur et en dehors du terrain. En faisant preuve de respect à l'égard des équipes, de l'arbitre et des autres spectateurs, nous faisons du football un jeu meilleur pour toutes et tous. Nous vous rappelons qu'il n'y a pas de place pour le racisme, mais seulement pour l'amitié. Une politique d'interdiction de fumer s'applique au tournoi de l'UEFA Friendship Cup 2025. Toute personne utilisant du tabac ou des produits d'e-cigarettes à l'intérieur du stade sera priée d'arrêter immédiatement. Merci de respecter la politique anti-tabac et de profiter du match.
Hi, Laura, can you hear me?
Please welcome teams of Japan and Uruguay. Veuillez accueillir les équipes du Japon et d'Uruguay.
Welcome once again to the Colivray Sports Complex in Nyon, where it is a decisive day in the UEFA Friendship Cup. The final contenders for medals will be determined today. In Group B, Japan are still in contention for second place. It's the best they can do, even if they win inside 90 minutes. And even that hinges on the right result elsewhere. So for them and Uruguay, it's a day where destinies cannot be self-determined. Before today's game, we will start with an airing of the national anthems of both teams.
anthem of Japan. Veuillez rester debout pour l'hymne national du Japon.
The situation in Group B is slightly complicated. Senegal and Portugal are not playing until a little later on today. Those two nations currently occupy first and second in the Group B table on 5 and 4 points respectively. Japan only have 3 going into this game with Uruguay. Now, win inside 90 minutes would make 6 for this Japan team, who have made 5 changes today. Shuto Oishi starts up front with Nakano and Osada in midfield. As for Uruguay, a change in goal. They bring in Lucas Jorge today, and it's a new pairing in attack too. Vincenzo Macchia and Ignacio Molina. Now, should Japan get the win inside 90 minutes and make it to 6 points in total, there is no way that both Senegal and Portugal can fail to eclipse that total. A win for either would take them above Japan. A draw, even with a subsequent loss in a shootout, would give Senegal 6 points, which, given their head-to-head advantage over the Japanese, means there is no way to first place. Second place in Group B will gain access to the third, fourth place playoff, where the runner-up in Group A will be the opponent for a bronze medal. So that is the ceiling of Japan's ambition. Both they and Uruguay will be playing for the win in any case. Both sets of players will want to unlock that particular achievement before time is called upon this year's competition. Uruguay with 2 defeats inside 90 minutes before now, the only nation to suffer that indignity. Japan, meanwhile, victorious in a shootout on match day 1, but falling by the wayside from the spot in their second game, having been in such a strong position against Senegal. As we said before kickoff, in that particular encounter, that always looked like being the key game in terms of determining who topped Group B. And Japan's loss of a 3-1 advantage in the second half to eventually draw 3-3 and then lose the shootout really was the end of their chances of topping the group. It was a pity for Japan, who hadn't played at all badly In fact, they were the better side for the whole of the first half against Senegal. Played some really wonderful football. The Senegalese players really upped their game in the second half and just blew Japan away. So Japan, in their change colours of white, get us underway on match day 3 of the UEFA Friendship Cup, the last day of group competition, although of course we will go into finals day on Tuesday, where both of these teams will be involved in some capacity, even though Uruguay are sadly out of contention for a medal here in Nyon. And they look for their first point of the competition today. Early test for the Uruguayan defence as Benjamin Garcia was at full stretch to win that particular header. Good early ball by Nakano, which results in a Japanese corner. Should be an intriguing game, this one. Two groups of very technically gifted players who like to pass the ball. Early problem in the Uruguayan defence here. There will be a moment's stoppage before the taking of this Japanese corner, as we've got a player down on the edge of his own 6-yard box. Uruguay lost 4-0 to Senegal on match day 1, and also suffered a heavy defeat to Portugal 2 on Wednesday. The UEFA Friendship Cup is all about providing a learning experience for all of these young players, and it certainly has been that on the pitch for Uruguay. Uruguayan Japanese corner then. Outswinger. And eventually dealt with by Jorge, who is enjoying his first start of the tournament today. Japan were a very lively side in the first half against Senegal and showed some really wonderful movement off the ball, completely bamboozling the Senegalese defenders, getting in behind them at every opportunity. They really should have had more than their 3 goals, and they've started well here. Nakano's pass. Good work from Velasquez to just close down that particular opportunity. That's Suoka's throw. Once again, it's Velasquez with the tackle. He's been one of Uruguay's better looking players. It's been a tough tournament for them, but Alexander Velasquez looks like he's got real ability in those boots. Swung out towards Nakayama. Lost out to Cardoso. Restored to the starting 11 today. And Japan enjoying a healthy dose of possession in the opening exchanges here. Nakano working well for Japan on the right-hand side at the moment. Velasquez, surrounded by white shirts, and unable to bypass them, but Uruguay momentarily kept possession. It's been in transition that things have been difficult for the Uruguayan teams here in Nyon. They're committed to passing their way out from the back. Sometimes got themselves into trouble doing it. Velasquez with that cross. Japan look a bit stretched here. Konings safely in possession of the ball. Referee just bringing it back for the Uruguayan free kick. Japan drew 1-1 with Portugal on match day 1 before winning the extra point in the penalty shootout, and also a head-to-head advantage which could become crucial in the final table. Martinez with the early ball across. Bikini looking to make some room for himself. Wasn't the worst shot, wide off the target, but Uruguay starting to grow into this game now. Sloppy play in defence by Japan. Kubo called in possession rather. Here's Lucchini again. That's not really the delivery that was required by Lucas Fraga. Many of the players in this Uruguayan squad were involved in the South American Championships in March and April. That tournament didn't go too well for Uruguay either, who fell in the first phase. Nakayama. Japan throw. Not quite the same explosive start from Japan that we saw in the Senegal game. Like a foul by Federico Bez, and the referee thought so too. Haruto Nakano knocked off his feet by the Uruguayan fullback. Toshiya Matsuoka will restart for Japan. Who looked the superior side in the opening exchanges without actually really forcing any action out of Uruguayan goalkeeper Jorge, who has it here. Cardoso across to Garcia. Japan applying the high press and winning it back. Matsuoka. Chance here for Japan. It will be a corner. We saw plan A there from the Japanese, putting the pressure on Uruguay. The high press leading to the turnover, and Japan's first real chance of the game. Follow-up effort leads to another corner. Kyo Tanaka with that shot. The first effort probably won't be recorded in the statistics as an effort on goal, but it was a good opening for the Japanese. Another corner into the near post this time. Uruguay head on it. And now they can break Uruguay. Although he is all on his own, Lucchini, up against three defenders. He was never favourite to come away with the ball in that situation. It was Tashi Ukibe who took the ball away from him. Dangerous ball over the top. Uruguay in trouble. There was a vital touch on that by Jorge, sending it away for a Japanese corner. Shuto Oishi and Kyo Tanaka up front for Japan, once again causing problems for their opponents. They've got real pace up front, Japan, and it's the timing of those runs that's all important from the front men. Shun Nakayama with another corner. Velasquez with the clearance for Uruguay. Osada. Uruguay break it up this time, but that's the problem for them. They're a little bit careless when they do win it back. Possession often relinquished within moments. It's not often that Uruguay field under 18 teams. Only a couple of fixtures in the last 8 or 9 years before this particular tournament. You have to go back to 2016, 2017 to find a victorious under 18 Uruguayan side in action. Japan, meanwhile, play recognised internationals at under 18 level far more often. Here's Matsuoka, the referee turning a blind eye to the late challenge on Wada, and eventually deciding that some medical attention was needed. It will be a free kick to Japan. "14 minutes gone here. Japan very much controlling the tempo, but still no score in Nyon. Again, Uruguay give it away at the first opportunity. And yet again, It's becoming a bit of a broken record for a side that wants to play its way out of defence progressively. It's something that is going to have to improve, otherwise they're going to be under constant pressure here today, just as they were in previous Friendship Cup matches. Here's Tanaka. Oh, the attempted lob from Oishi. Not too far away. And they are certainly getting closer, aren't they, the Japanese? I think it was actually Tawa Asada with that final effort. And it is on these Uruguayan goal kicks that Japan are very, very keen to press their opponents. And you can see the anxiety that Uruguay have when they're being closed down. They've done well this time though, held on to it, played their way into the Japanese half. Much better from Uruguay, for whom things are opening up here with Velasquez. Well, that will go down as a shot on target. And that is Uruguay at their best. Having the bravery and the character to keep playing their football under pressure. They played their way through the press and created an opportunity for themselves. That will really please them. Matsuoka's ball forward. Osada timing the run nicely this time, but good defending. Another Uruguayan goal kick coming up. Another chance for Japan to apply the pressure. Garcia. No messing this time, lofted forward. Japan picking up the pieces. Wada to Matsuoka. This is where Japan are good. Look at the brilliant first time passing, and Nakano is clear with 3 shirts to aim at in the middle. Oh, it's an own goal. Japan take the lead. There's an element of good fortune about it. But the passage of play that led up to the goal was quite brilliant. Some wonderful first-time passing and movement from the Japanese, just what they excel at. And when Nakano's goal came into the middle, I think it went in off Mauricio Milano. So Japan with the early goal, 18 minutes on the clock, and it does not flatter them. Although Uruguay have had a couple of shots on target, Japan have looked a far more accomplished side, even if it is one of their opponents on the score sheet in the form of Mauricio Milano's own goal. So another early body blow for Uruguay to absorb. It has been tough for them here in Switzerland. They'll never forget the experience. I'm sure it will do them a lot of good in the long run. Always very difficult to explain that to young players, though. Understandably so. Jorge really struggling, Uruguay, to get the ball forward constructively. And Japan are back in possession. Now, nothing accrued from that particular turnover, but it was another occasion where Uruguay had very little idea how to cope with the Japanese press. And if the ball keeps coming back at them in that way, it's only going to be a matter of time before we see further Japanese goals. And there could be one here. There would have been were it not for the save by Lucas Jorge. Very easy for Japan at the moment to have another corner. The concession of the opening goal and the nature of it. A real problem for Uruguay, who come close to conceding again. Harumo Kubo up from the back. And his goal-bound header kept out by Lucas Jorge, who suddenly has become a very busy goalkeeper. It's not unlike what we saw from Japan against Senegal. A first half goal, and then an attempt to really double down on that early advantage. Nakayama's corner, and just wide this time. I think it was Kubo again, up from the back. He looks a real player, Harumo Kubo. He was untouchable in defence on Wednesday, and it looks like he gets forward well too. Benjamin Garcia. Midway through the first half here, just 1-0 to Japan, but if you are only just joining us, it has been a fairly one-sided affair. Foul by Martinez, free kick to Japan. Very little has gone right for Uruguay so far in Switzerland. It was probably a bad omen for them when they lost their kit en route to Europe. On match day 1, they had to play in an improvised strip. It was actually really a training kit, with some numbers hastily added to the back. Oh, more good work from Japan. Nakano trying to get on the end of that pass. Beautifully weighted by Osada inside the fullback. It's led to another corner. The Japanese players just really seem to understand one another. They know exactly where their teammates are going to be. That's the secret to playing those sweet passes into space like that. Another Nakayama corner coming up. Second goal at this stage for Japan, and Uruguay would be in very big trouble indeed. And they can't clear it. Half-hearted appeals for a Japanese penalty. Velasquez now, it's got to hang on to it here. And he can't. Isn't that the story of the game so far? Nakano back to Matsuoka. If at all possible, Japan would be well advised to keep the tempo high. If they can do so, I'm sure further goal scoring opportunities will be forthcoming. More good movement from Japan. And they're queuing up in the middle there. In the end, Tanaka had the shot with Nakano coming in off the right-hand side. He rather took it away from him. But more of that crisp passing and intelligent movement off the ball from Japan. In that department, I don't think they've got any peers in this tournament. I think the problem against Senegal in the second half was just that Senegal's power and strength advantage really came to the fore. Surely offside here. Yep, flags up. Tough game so far for Makia and Molina. In the first half against Senegal, Japan did really well getting in behind the Senegalese. But when they came back out in the second half, Senegal threw caution to the wind. Put the Japanese defence under pressure. And they soon found great success with it. One or two substitutions too many also assisted the Japanese collapse, going from 3-1 ahead to 3 each. And by the end of the game, there only looked like being one winner, and it wasn't them. Things going well here for Japan. Uruguay having to work very, very hard just to stay in this contest. Neat turn from Wada. Back to Matsuoka. Jorge has to clear. Likini to Cardozo. Matsuoka. Kubo. Out to Senda. Very late challenge indeed there. Free kick to Japan. Japan have a far more active under-18 side than many nations at this tournament, but their results in the last year or so haven't been too encouraging. Only one win in 8 matches prior to today. That dates back to last summer when they beat Sweden in a friendly. That match was one of 3 played in Spain. They also went up against the USA. Lost by 3-2 in that one. A bit more cosmopolitan than some of their opponents, the Japanese. They play abroad much more often than most. And here they come again. Uruguay having to defend in numbers. They just cannot get the ball back, the South Americans. Can't get a break, can't get a breather. And there was the chance for 2, saved again by Jorge. It's relentless pressure now from the Japanese. Somehow Uruguay staying in the game, but it has become nothing more than a rearguard effort now from the South Americans. They cannot get hold of the ball at all for any length of time. I think part of the problem for them is that once they do get it back, the 30 minutes of chasing shadows, they're absolutely exhausted and out of their own shape, trying to go forward. Now Cardoso's lost it. He'll get a yellow card for that. Had to take one for the team, really. "15 minutes left in the first half here. It's actually Mauro Martinez who got the yellow card for Uruguay, the skipper. Nakano driving one, and does well to win the corner. The one-way traffic continues here in Nyon. Japan desperate to turn this dominance into goals. So far, it is only Lucas Jorge in goal that has kept the scoreline respectable. Nakayama's latest corner. Unceremoniously smashed forward by Uruguay. Safety first, understandable under the circumstances. Bays, unfortunate slip by Makia. Sender. Vitally important that that one was cut out by Fraga, otherwise they would have been in again. That's Suoka's long ball that time. Oishi taking on two opponents. Everybody missed it. Uruguay will look to build once again. Jorge gave his fellow defender a bit of a problem there. I don't think you need to be a tactical genius to work out the problem here for Uruguay. They simply cannot keep the ball. Every time they get it, it's only ever a matter of seconds before the Japanese are back in possession. And unlike their opponents, they are much more deliberate, much more accurate with their passing. For once, it was given away by Japan there. They retrieve it within seconds, almost demonstrating exactly what we were just speaking of. One doesn't wish to be too critical of these young players, but Uruguay simply must protect the ball better. That's the reason they've been under constant pressure in all three of their games. That's the reason why they're conceding goals at a rate faster than any other team at this tournament. And there are more problems for them here. A blocked shot from Oishi goes for another Japanese corner. And with a little over 10 minutes remaining in the first half, the Japanese dominance continues here. That's a better delivery. Uruguayan head on it. A final shot from Toa Asada, well wide. You can just see the Uruguayan substitutes all warming up in that far corner. I think they'll all be playing a part before the end of today's game. I think Uruguay will be setting themselves small targets for the remainder of this tournament. They will be involved on the final day, of course, but it is looking increasingly like it'll be in the match to determine who finishes 7th and who finishes 8th. First goal would be a start. Haruma Kubo. Wada. Ukibe. Sit back from Senda. They cover the ground so quickly, the Japanese players. Even when there is a misplaced pass, they usually recover it themselves. Nakayama. Curling one, but safely into the grasp of Jorge. Fraga. Martinez back to Jorge, who did well. Martinez with time and space to pick a pass. It's not often we've been able to say that. Here he is again, still with space ahead of him. Look a bit short on confidence at the moment, don't they, Uruguay? Could do with a passage of play where they just complete a few passes. It's a better one. And there are blue shirts arriving in the middle as Matsuoka clears. Another misplaced pass lets in Japan. Uruguay now scurrying back behind the ball. Has been their natural habitat for pretty much all of this game up to now. 38 minutes gone. A reminder of the situation in Group B. Japan currently with 6 points, which has them at the top of the table. Senegal and Portugal play one another later on today. They're on 5 and 4 points. Either one of those wins the game and they will eclipse Japan. If it's a Senegal win, Japan will stay in second and play for the bronze medal. If it does end in a draw between those two games, those two sides rather, and they go into the penalty shootout, even if Senegal lose it, the point they get from the draw in the 90 minutes would take them into first place above Japan. In that eventuality though, Portugal would finish on 6 points, the same as Japan, and the head-to-head advantage accrued in the matchday 1 shootout win by the Japanese would send them into the bronze medal match. Best policy might be just to take stock of all that once today's games are complete. Doesn't pay to get too far ahead of oneself. Now Japan working it nicely. Looking for the second goal. There's no room for Oishi to turn. He was offside in any case. there is any disappointment for Japan at the moment, it can only be that they have failed to truly take advantage of their vast superiority in the opening 40 minutes here. Ukibe. Nice turn from Oishi. Nakayama linking. Wada. So much more composed and confident on the ball, Japan. They also know exactly where their teammates are going to be. Kubo, Matsuoka, Nakano. Misplaced pass from Osada, but second time around he finds Nakano. Really good understanding by the little triangle of players on this near side, Osada, Nakano and Matsuoka. We've seen it time and time again in this first half. Senda. Good challenge that from Cardozo, I think. Japan immediately winning it back. Story of the game. Only thing missing from Japan has been a little bit more ruthlessness in the final third. With that, this game would have been won already. Three minutes left in normal time at the end of this first half. And then whatever the referee Julian Müller and his team of officials ought to add on at the conclusion of normal time. I would think that Uruguay would like to hear the half-time whistle ASAP, because they will have done well to get to half-time with only one goal conceded. Awkward header, but wide of the target from Oishi. He hasn't had, him and Tanaka haven't had too many opportunities of that type. Tend not to be a crossing side, Japan. He's a big lad, Oishi, and given the opportunity, I reckon he could well convert chances like that. Garcia's attempted pass, like so many before it, results in a Japanese ball, albeit in the form of a throw. The good news for Uruguay is that there will be just one more minute added on at the end, we understand. But here is a chance for Uruguay all of a sudden, and a good sight of goal too. Well, he's had to wait a very long time for that. Vincenzo Macchia. In the end, he might be a little bit disappointed with his effort. Just a little reminder to Japan about the folly of missing chances. They were only one missed chance away from going in to half-time on level terms, and that would have been something of a travesty, given the way the Japanese players have dominated proceedings here. They must learn from that situation against Senegal. They're a vastly superior position. Did not translate into a win. Here's Velasquez for Uruguay. Looking a bit more confident all of a sudden as we move into first half stoppage time. I think that's part of the problem for the South Americans. They've been drained of all confidence after 2 heavy defeats. Just need something to go their way. And we might see a completely different side of them. Fraga's raking pass was always ambitious, and it will be a Japanese goal kick. Strange shot of the game, really, being that it is only an own goal that separates the two teams. If you were just looking at the stats after the first half of this one and saw that, you might have very much the wrong idea. There are own goals, and this one was very much created by Japan's excellent passing and movement. It was probably worth more goals than the one they did get, but lack of ruthlessness in the final third means that this game is still very much in the balance at half-time. At the break, it's Japan 1, Uruguay 0.
You that a no smoking policy is on operation at the UEFA Friendship Cup 2025. Any person using tobacco or e-cigarette products inside the stadium ball will be asked to stop immediately. Thank you for respecting the no smoking policy, and we hope that you will enjoy the game. We hope also that you will enjoy the game and that the teams producing memorable performance in accordance with the spirit of respect and fair. We wish both teams the best of luck. Une interdiction de fumer est appliquée lors de l'UEFA Friendship Cup 2025. Toute personne surprise en train de fumer du tabac ou une cigarette électronique dans l'enceinte du stade sera priée de cesser immédiatement. Nous vous remercions de bien vouloir respecter l'interdiction de match. Nous espérons que vous apprécierez ce match et que les équipes réaliseront une performance mémorable dans l'esprit du respect et du fair play. Nous vous remercions de bien vouloir respecter cette interdiction. Nous souhaitons bonne chance aux deux équipes. Merci.
Welcome back to the Colivray Sports Complex in Nyon. There are one or two changes ahead of the second half here. The game between Japan and Uruguay. At least two that we know of from Japan. Naru Nakatsumi and Shun Shinkawa have joined the game. Kyo Tanaka and Hiruto Nakano have departed. I think you can see a clutch of blue shirts as well over the far side, suggesting that as many as three Uruguayan changes are on the way. I can't see Alexander Velasquez out there. He looks like being one of the players removed for Uruguay. Velasquez has gone. It's been replaced by Bruno Aradi, who's the most experienced player in the squad. Lucchini has also departed. Rodrigo Dudok coming on. Vincenzo Macchio was very quiet in the first half and has been replaced by Facundo Dominguez. Uruguay very much second best in the first half, but still within a goal here as we go into the conclusion of this Group B game, the final game in the group as far as these two nations are concerned. An own goal from Mauricio Milano is all that separates the two teams on the score sheet. But if you're just joining us here, I can tell you that Japan were very comfortable and very good value for their half-time lead. If there is cause for optimism for Uruguay, I think it is the arrival of these three attacking substitutes, Dudok, Dominguez and Aradi. They are in many respects the three most highly rated of the Uruguayan attacking players. But if you were a glass half empty sort of a person, you might point out that Uruguay have got to get the ball first, and that was the problem for most of the first half here. Good work immediately from Uruguay. Here's Aradi taking up a place on the right hand side, but let that one get away from him. Facundo Dominguez will lead the line now, every bit the number 9.
For Uruguay, number 13 is being replaced by number 16, number 15 is being replaced by number 8, number 7.
Naru Nakatsumi, one of the players to have joined the game for Japan, the youngest member of their squad. Doesn't turn 18 until just before Christmas. Currently on the books of Gamba Osaka in his native Japan. There are some players in these squads that are not necessarily based in their home country. One of them is today's goalkeeper for Japan, Lawrence Konings, who is of dual nationality and is based here in Switzerland. I wonder whether the arrival of the new front three, Dudok, Dominguez and Aradi, will aid Uruguay's attempts at playing the ball forward. Early signs are not good. Here comes Japan, and there is the second goal, but it won't count. Chucked away by Nakayama. He was in an offside position, and the assistant referee on that far side immediately waved his flag. So another narrow escape for Uruguay. Japan just don't quite seem to be able to put the result to bed here. Although only 3 minutes gone in the second half, in fairness. The same old problems for Uruguay. The Japanese swarming all over them, winning the ball back with ease and keeping the pressure on these overworked Uruguayan defenders. Garcia. Martinez with the ball forward. Dudok. Here's Aradi. All blue shirts wait for the delivery, but it won't come. Oh, he's done well to win it back, but illegally in the eyes of our referee, who may take a dim view of the way that Aradi kicked the ball away there. No yellow card, but a warning. Now, Bruno Aradi was a bit of a surprise addition to the Uruguayan squad. He's the best known player among them due to the senior football experience he has for Nacional back home, whom he's made 12 first team appearances in the past season, 2 of those in the Copa Libertadores. Ukibe. Taken down by Nakatsumi. Japan once again working it well. And goalkeeper Jorge has lost it. And once again the goal will not count for Japan. Foul on the goalkeeper this time. And 5 minutes gone in this second half. Japan have had it in the net twice. Ruled out on both occasions. And they are immediately back in possession, the Japanese. They really will be kicking themselves if they don't win this, because they've been so superior. Uruguayan free kick once more. The introduction of the 3 attacking players for Uruguay is a surefire sign that they're determined to try and take the game to their opponents in this second half. However, the same problems remain. They just can't get out of their own half and retain possession of the ball. Won't be able to push players forward until they manage to hang on to possession for more than a few seconds at a time. Wada. Kurumo Kubo. Wada flying into that tackle, but not quite winning it. Now Shinkawa. A shot with no real power. Japan's under-19s were playing in Europe last summer too. They participated in the Maurice Ravello tournament, the former Toulon tournament. Finished 5th in that one, but had the tournament top scorer in their ranks, Kento Shiogai. That's Suoka losing out. Rare opportunity for Uruguay Didn't last long. Great strength in defence there from Ukibe. And now it's 3 against 2 in Japan's favour. And another good save from Jorge. Shuto Oishi bearing down on goal. He becomes the latest Japanese player to fail to find the net. A corner for Japan, but that very much seems like a booby prize compared to what they could have had there. 3 against 2 in their favour, and once again unable to increase the lead. Nakayama's corner, good volley, but off target. The shots are raining in from Japan at the start of this second half. Two disallowed goals and one vitally important save. Well, two really from Jorge, because there was a save prior to the foul on him for the second disallowed goal. Another good cross aimed towards Oishi. Yeah, deceptively strong as well, some of the Japanese players. They have shrugged off their markers on opponents on several occasions that I've noticed. And of course it's also playing a part in Uruguay's inability to keep hold of the ball. I've seen all of the teams now in Group B, and it's a real disappointment from Japan's point of view that they're not playing for first place in the group, because I think they are the most accomplished team in this Group B. It all comes down to that lost lead against Senegal. That was what cost them. That is the second half performance that they will live to regret, because it's the difference between a bronze or potentially gold or silver medal, I think. Unless they make sure of victory here, they may not even get a chance to play for the podium place. Destiny out of their own hands. Got to win this one and then hope for the right result later. Federico Baez did well, the fullback. He's got to find a teammate. Has not done so. Shinkawa couldn't take that one in his stride. You just get a sense that these Japanese players are so well drilled in terms of the shape that they enjoy when they're out on the pitch. It's something that we're not seeing from Uruguay at all. You saw it when Federico Baez got forward a moment or two ago. There were 2 or 3 players ahead of him, but it just wasn't a simple pass on for the fullback, and that's never the case for Japan. It's always support for them in numbers, always a good run off the ball like that one from Shinkawa, who's won them a corner. "57 minutes plus extras have been played. Still only 1 goal in the game, an own goal from Mauricio Milano. Latest in a long line of Japanese corners coming up. Nothing doing this time. Goal kick. Japan's under-20s team will be heading for the World Cup later this year. It'll be their 4th consecutive appearance in the competition. Qualification was earned via their semi-final appearance at this year's Asian Cup. At under 20 level, Japan have made at least the semi-final in each tournament since 2016, a year in which they won the competition. We've had a change here. Didn't see it made. Free kick to Uruguay.
2 substitutions for Japan.
Rear foray forward for the South Americans. They've left a little bit of space at the back. Japan can't exploit it. 2 further changes for Japan that have been made. Shuto Oishi replaced up front by Ritsu Onishi. It's a like-for-like change. And Yusei Shima has also joined the game. Free kick given here, that won't count, didn't go in anyway. Matsuoka, the player, making way for Shima to join the defence. Now 30 minutes or so left for Uruguay to disappoint the Japanese here. We all know the key lesson of football at all levels. You've got to take your chances. You've got to score when you're on top. Japan have been on top for an hour. And the only time they found the net, and it counted, was when one of the Uruguayan players put through his own net. And that is the reason why they're still a little bit nervy here as we move into the final third of the game. Acres of space in that midfield for the Japanese players to exploit. And given time and space, they will exploit it. That much we know. Here's Shinkawa. Nimble feet. And a curling effort. Straight at goalkeeper Jorge from Nakayama. For all of their technical excellence and reading of the game, Japan, they do maybe lack a little bit of power, a little bit of forcefulness sometimes, although they are strong. Haven't quite discovered their killer instinct in the 18-yard box, that's for sure. Not today anyway. Jorge lifting it forward. Dominguez was challenging for it. Did enough for it to fall to a teammate. But then another wretched pass. They really have been their own worst enemies here today. Uruguay, well, all tournament really. Got to work on that possession game. There's Japan once again working terrifically hard and winning it back. No joy for them this time. But The way they force those turnovers will really please the Japanese coaching staff. Shinkawa's won another corner. It's a very sophisticated way of playing the Japanese game. Something we're seeing in more and more senior sides. In that respect, they do look several light years ahead of Uruguay here. You cannot seem to get any kind of cohesive game plan going. Another Japanese corner. Is this the moment where they can put a bit of daylight between themselves and the luckless South Americans of Uruguay? Warning for Onishi and Garcia before the corner comes in. Deeper delivery this time, and it'll be a goal kick. Uruguay's under-20 team is far more active than an under-18 team in their name. Very successful too. Under-20 level Uruguay, 8-time continental champions, and also the current holders of the World Cup at under-20 level, one in 2023. Bez. It's a good little ball carrier, the left back. It's beaten 3 here. Couldn't quite pick the pass. It was the right one though. It's been so difficult to judge some of these Uruguayan players because they've not had the opportunity to show their best side. Here's Bays again. He looks good getting forward. He's lost out here though. Now, was that Bays making a foul on his way back to the left back position? I rather think it was. He's got away with one there because it looked pretty deliberate to me. Shinkawa had no hope of catching that. So with 25 minutes to go in normal time, the game remains in the balance. Lucas Jorge in goal for Uruguay can be well pleased with his performance. Hasn't started a game until match day 3. Only 16 years of age, the goalkeeper, but he's made some excellent saves today. Giving Uruguay a platform from which they could still rescue something here. And look at the number of blue shirts forward. Well, the shot from Aradi taking a nick on its way. It'll be a Uruguayan corner. Got to watch themselves here, Japan. Mauro Martinez will deliver an out-swinging corner here. And it's put over the top in the end. Fraga up from the back. More changes for Uruguay. Mauro Martinez, the captain, making way. Emiliano Figueroa coming on. The 4th change of the match, Uruguay. Shinkawa looking to inject some urgency into the Japanese approach. Not something they've been lacking in fairness. In the midfield for Osada. Shinkawa. Cardoso isolated. Once again, the cross not quite finding its target. Japan first to the second ball, as they have been all game. Shinkawa losing out that time to Dudok. Good defensive work from the midfielder. Clearance wasn't much though. Straight back to Japan. Osada. Good interception by Fraga. Another careless pass from Uruguay, giving it straight back to Japan. And this time they take advantage. Japan at last with the second goal, and what a strike it was from Naoya Wada. At last, a second goal, and a goal which will surely win the game inside the 90 minutes. A stupendous strike from Wada. Right into the top corner. Lucas Jorge, who's been having a splendid game between the sticks for Uruguay, beaten at last. I think any goalkeeper would have struggled to keep that one out. Spectacular goal from Wada. They have had to be so patient, Japan, but at last they've given themselves some margin for error. And I suppose it's also fitting that despite the spectacular nature of the goal, it did come after Uruguay gave the ball away somewhat carelessly on the edge of their own 18-yard box. Tournaments such as these are all about players learning lessons, getting experience on and off the pitch. And Uruguay have certainly been given a few lessons over the course of these three Group B matches. They are in danger of the goals conceded column going into double figures by the end of the tournament. Japanese free kick, handball given. Well, there's still plenty of game time here, but given the difficulty that Uruguay have had in creating a clear-cut goal-scoring chance, it is difficult to back them to get 2 goals in the remaining game time we've got here. Nakayama, an interested party at the free kick. It is going to be Nakayama. Clever. In the end, a comfortable catch for Jorge. What a difficult day it's been for the Uruguayan forwards. Sort of game that's so difficult for strikers. So much hard work for so little. One of those games where you barely see the ball let alone in the vicinity of the opponent's goal. Now the battle is on here. Uruguayan throw. They're still digging their heels in, Uruguay. That is to their credit. They have not downed tools. They have battled right to the end in every game, despite what must be some morale-destroying performances out there. More changes on the way by the looks of it. Japan, hopefully with the victory in the bag, are going to make a couple more alterations. I think we've got a new central midfield pairing on the way. Tawa Osada and the goal scorer Naoyawada departing. Aitaro Higashiguchi and Takato Yamamoto coming on for the remainder of the game, of which there is just over 15 minutes. Uruguay with a corner here and a chance to reduce their arrears. Not this time. Dogged work by the Japanese defenders. The referee did not like the challenge this time and has awarded Uruguay a free kick. A yellow card came out there too. Could have been one or two players. They were both having a real dig at their opponent there. Referee Muller not impressed. It was Yusishima who got the yellow card for Japan, and the bad news for him is that it is his second booking of the tournament, so that is going to rule him out of any game on Tuesday, be it a bronze medal match or otherwise. Uruguayan free kick. What a boost it would be for the South Americans if they could get on the score sheet. Driven goalwards, and Lawrence Connings having to make his first save in a very long time. Japan have been waiting a little while to be able to make those changes. That's Higashiguchi and Yamamoto coming on. They've been waiting on the touchline for a while.
Two substitutions for Japan. Number 10 is being replaced by number 20, and number
Kubo
40 is being replaced by number 7. Deux remplacements pour le Japon, le numéro 10 est remplacé par le numéro 20.
Acres of space in the midfield here for Yamamoto, Onishi. That's confirmation of the yellow card, which ends the tournament of Shima. Nakatsumi taking on Bays. Good interception. Nakatsumi again. Here's Higashiguchi. And again, absolutely tiny, isn't he? Higashiguchi. Now Japan looking menacing. Onishi across the face of goal. And no one there to apply the finishing touch. It must have taken a nick on its way because it's going to be a corner. A chance for Japan to extend the margin of victory here. Uruguayan head on it. Last couple of changes on the way for Uruguay, who have a chance here. Symptomatic of the game so far. Dominguez was just muscled out of it by two Japanese defenders. And it opens up for Onishi at the other end. It's 3. Japan seal it with a third. Substitute Ritsu Onishi firing underneath goalkeeper Jorge. And now there is no doubt at all about the final result. The Japanese players have had to be so patient today. But at last, their superiority is being reflected on the score sheet. 3-0 is a scoreline that does not flatter the Japanese. It is the third consecutive heavy defeat for Uruguay, who have discovered that they're a little bit short of what is required at this tournament. Some substitutions are being made here for Uruguay. The captain Benjamin Garcia has made way. Mauro Marical is his replacement in central defence. And it's a complete change at the back because Lucas Fraga is also off at this stage. Christopher Marquez, the only defender left to replace him. Now Shinkawa. Uruguay on the canvas, it's safe to say. And Japan heading for 6 points and momentary leadership of Group B, but only until the game between Senegal and Portugal later. There is no way, unfortunately for Japan, that they can hold on to first place. Will be either Portugal or Senegal that take it. But Japan have done their bit. They've made sure that they've got something to play for on Tuesday in the form of a podium place. They also have a keen eye on who their opponents will be. Here's Onishi, he's in again! It's 4! They're running away with it. Uruguayan heads have gone completely, and Japan at last are filling up their boots. It's Shion Nakayama that's got the goal. Perhaps understandably, the quick-fire second and third goals have just ended what remained of the Uruguayan resistance, and now Japan are creating the chances and getting the goals with consummate ease. It didn't help Uruguay, I'm sure, that two new central defenders had just joined the game. Didn't have any time at all to acclimatise. Japan now believe that they can get even more goals. Nakatsumi's cross drifts behind. And if it was a boxing match, it would have been stopped by now, because Uruguay have taken so much punishment. Jorge manfully kept the score down at times, but he was always fighting a losing battle, the goalkeeper. They're still so much sharper, the Japanese. The Uruguayan legs must feel like lead. It's not only physical, although they have every reason to be more tired than their Japanese opponents. They've played pretty much the entire game chasing shadows. And it's also clearly just that total lack of energy you feel when you're beaten and dejected. And that is what Uruguay will be at this stage. Japan free kick. Nishi heading it down. Oh, brilliant footwork, but not the best of finishes from Shun Shinkawa. Unless Uruguay get a grip here, things could start to get very ugly. Last Japanese change of the game. Kuruma Kubo, who has made such an impression in defence in this tournament, gets an early rest. Haruto Nakano comes on, who is the named captain of the squad, although he was rested today. Now, a chance for Uruguay. First goal of the tournament, at last! Something for Uruguay to cheer. The Japanese defence breached. Facundo Dominguez stayed onside and took his chance. It is the smallest of consolations for Uruguay, and it is at last something positive for them. Well, the game getting stretched, and plenty of goals being scored in the final stages here. And who knows, we might see a couple more. Facundo Dominguez took it very nicely. The way things have been going for Uruguay, there was a lot of pressure on his shoulders there. But he did what all good strikers must do and make the most of very few chances. All credit to the 17-year-old, who gets Uruguay's first goal of the tournament. Japan looking to re-establish the 4-goal cushion. They almost did so. And Naru Nakatsumi's shot not far wide. This game rather shapeless now. Plenty of shots raining in. Both sets of players tired and with the result beyond doubt, perhaps lacking a little bit of focus. In fairness to them, the vast amount of changes that get made in these tournaments don't help. The team's always vastly different that finish the game to the ones that start it. Often find players playing out of position. Adds to the sense of chaos towards the end. after their consolation goal. There is another very, very small consolation for Uruguay coming up, and that is that they are only going to have to play 1 minute of stoppage time. The referee and his team of assistants taking pity on the Uruguayans. There really is no need to make them suffer the full 5 or 6 minutes. Think about the number of goals and substitutions we've seen, could easily be that many. Good to see the match officials using some common sense. Here's Federico Bez. They'll have to lift themselves again, Uruguay. One more game to play. They'll want to avoid the wooden spoon in Tuesday's game. Well, the hope for them has to be that they won't have another game as tough as this one. Well, chance here for Japan. Uruguay have switched off completely, but Jorge hasn't. He prevents an embarrassing 5th goal. It will just be a Japanese corner. Could be the last act of the game, this, depending on whether or not the referee insists on playing stoppage time. Delivered deep. And Uruguay can't clear. Higashiguchi's shot across the face of goal. Uruguay trying to dribble it out of their own box. Not a great policy. And they got away with it in the end. Onishi slicing his shot wide. So it has been a very one-sided performance. Japan extremely worthy winners. The target was always the win inside 90 minutes. And that is what they have achieved here today. 6 points on the board. Looks like being the bronze medal match for Japan. A fantastic performance at times from the Samurai Blue, who have delighted us with their movement off the ball and their astute passing. Took a little while for the goals to flow, but eventually they came, and they buried a Uruguayan side who were nowhere near on the same level as today's winners. Final score here, Japan 4, Uruguay 1.
Le score final est Japon 4, Uruguay 1. Merci aux deux équipes. Félicitations à l'équipe du Japon. We remind you that it is strictly forbidden to enter the pitch at any time. Don't forget there will be also the match between Senegal and Portugal today at this stadium at 15:30. We wish you a safe trip home and hope to see you soon. Nous vous rappelons qu'il est strictement interdit de pénétrer sur le terrain de jeu à quelques moments que ce soit. N'oubliez pas qu'il y aura également un match entre le Sénégal et le Portugal aujourd'hui dans ce stade à 15h30.